a 12-pound white Persian cat that had not purred in 3 years and 4 months, a 26-year-old woman who had not laughed in just as long. And what happened on a Tuesday afternoon in July when a jar of pickles exploded on a stairwell in Pittsburgh would prove something the vet had been wrong about all along, that sometimes grief leaves the room with you, and sometimes it leaves the room because of you. Claire Brennan was 26 years old, a kindergarten music teacher at a small public school in Pittsburgh, and she had stopped singing. She had not taken her grandmother's old upright piano out of the storage unit in 3 years. She had not gone back to the diner where she and her grandmother May had eaten Sunday breakfast every week for 14 years. She had not laughed at a real joke since the morning of March 11th, when her grandmother passed away at the age of 83 with a paperback Agatha Christie novel still open on her lap. Claire wasn't depressed exactly, she was just quiet, the kind of quiet that follows you out of one room and into the next without ever announcing itself. The week after the funeral, Claire's mother handed her a small, soft-sided cat carrier in the parking lot of the rental hall. "Nobody else wants him," her mother said. "Your aunt is allergic, the cousins have kids. Please, Claire." Inside the carrier was Winston, a 12-pound, long-haired white Persian with one ice blue eye, one moss green eye, an aristocratic flat face, and a small brass bell hanging from a worn red velvet collar. May had owned him for 9 years. He had sat on her bed through the cancer diagnosis, slept on her chest during chemo, and stayed at the foot of her hospice bed for the last 11 days of her life. Claire signed the paper. She did not know what else to do. The vet examined Winston 3 days later. "Cat's grief. He is going to be quiet for a while. He may stop eating. He may hide. Give him time. Give him a year, and you will have your boy back." What Winston did instead on the very first night was sit on May's old armchair, the one Claire had brought home from the estate, face the front door of the apartment, and wait. He sat there for 6 hours. Then he walked to his bowl, ate half of the food, walked back to the chair, and waited some more. The next morning, Winston had not made a single sound, not a meow, not a chirp, not a purr, just the soft jingle of the brass bell when he jumped down for breakfast. The vet's predictions came true in their own way. He ate, he drank, he used his box. He let Claire brush the ridiculous cloud of his coat every Sunday morning. He climbed onto May's armchair at exactly 6 p.m. every evening, like he was keeping an appointment. He slept at the foot of Claire's bed every night. He did it all in absolute, dignified silence. A year passed. 2. 3. Claire took Winston back to the vet at the 3-year mark for a full checkup, mostly because she was scared something was physically wrong. The vet listened to his chest, looked at his teeth, pulled blood. Everything was normal. Winston was a textbook healthy 12-pound Persian. The vet looked at Claire over her glasses and said something Claire would think about a lot later. "Some cats wait. They don't stop loving, they just wait. The question is what they're waiting for." I see you've watched this far but still haven't subscribed. That stings a little. Stories like Winston's deserve to be seen. Hit subscribe. You'll want to see what comes next. What Claire did not tell the vet, and what she had not told anyone, was that she had also gone quiet. She had quit the piano elective at her school that September after May died. She had taken her own keyboard out of storage exactly once, played 4 notes, and put it back. She still went to work, she still called her mother on Sundays, she still smiled at the grocery store cashier, but the laughing thing, the loud, helpless kind of laughing that May had been famous for, the kind that used to embarrass Claire as a teenager, that had gone quiet too. 2 grieving creatures sharing one apartment in the East End of Pittsburgh, both doing all the things they were supposed to do, both forgetting how to make a sound. Then on a Tuesday afternoon in July of the 3rd year, something small and stupid happened. Claire was carrying 2 grocery bags up the carpeted stairwell of her second-floor walk-up at 4:42 p.m., one bag in each hand, her keys clenched between her teeth. The bottom of the left bag, which had been left in a hot car for 10 minutes longer than it should have, gave out exactly 2 steps from her landing. A jar of dill pickles, a 24-ounce glass jar that May used to buy by the case from the same brand, for the same recipe, for the same potato salad, fell out of the bag, hit the carpeted stair, bounced once, rolled the entire length of the staircase, hit the wall at the bottom, and detonated. Pickle juice, brine, dill sprigs, 14 wet green spears, broken glass in a perfect halo on the cheap landlord-grade carpet. The smell of vinegar filled the entire stairwell within 10 seconds. Claire stood at the top of the stairs, still holding the other grocery bag and 2 slices of bread that had fallen out of the broken one onto her shoe, and she stared at the wreckage. And then, for the first time in 3 years and 4 months, Claire Brennan laughed. Not a polite laugh, the full, helpless kind, the kind that bends you in half, the kind May used to do when she told the same dumb joke about a cardinal and a windshield for the 8th time at Sunday breakfast. Claire laughed for what she would later guess was almost 90 seconds, alone in a stairwell, surrounded by pickle juice and broken glass, in front of nobody. If that just made you smile, you already understand why this story exists. She climbed to the last 2 stairs eventually. She unlocked her door. She set down the surviving groceries. She sank to the floor of her small living room because her stomach hurt from laughing harder than her body remembered how to. And Winston, who had been at his usual 6 p.m. armchair post, even though it was only 4:48 p.m., did something he had not done in 9 years. He climbed down. He walked across the rug, slowly, like a 12-pound aristocrat crossing a ballroom. He put both front paws on Claire's left thigh. He looked up at her with one ice blue eye and one moss green eye. He purred. Not a small purr, a loud, rolling, full-chested purr that vibrated through her jeans and into the bones of her hand when she touched his back. It went on for almost 4 minutes without stopping. Claire didn't move. She didn't want to scare him. She just put her palm on the enormous, fluffy hill of him and listened to a sound she had never, once in 3 years and 4 months, heard him make. Today, Winston is 12 years old. Claire is 27. He purrs almost every night now, mostly when she practices piano in the living room. She started teaching May's old Sunday students again last September, in the same brick row house where May used to teach them, on the same upright piano that finally came out of the storage unit in October. Winston still keeps his 6 p.m. armchair appointment. He still lets Claire brush him on Sunday mornings while she drinks coffee. He still walks through the apartment like he holds the deed to the building. When friends ask Claire what finally made her start playing again, she doesn't say grief or therapy or time. She just nods at the white Persian shedding peacefully on the rug and says, "He was waiting for me. I think he had been waiting since the day May died. I just didn't know cats could do that." The vet had been wrong about one thing. Winston had not been grieving alone in that apartment. He had been waiting for Claire to come back too. Was Winston grieving for 3 years, or was he protecting? Do animals know things about us we don't know about ourselves? Tell me in the comments.